Let's head back to the 80s for a little redemption story along with some football and some comedy. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well out there, and I hope you've all had a great Halloween. I know we sure did here at the house. Tons of people stopped by. I was walking around dressed like Michael Myers. My son was dressed like the Grim Reaper. He went trick-or-treating and came back and helped me scare people around our property. It was a great night. Gave away tons of candy. And, now we're into November, and sadly, Halloween, you can't wait for it every year, and it comes and goes way too fast. So now we're in November, but every day could be Halloween. But for a little while, we're going to step away from horror films, at least here at my channel. We're going to talk about a little sports comedy from the 80s called The Best of Times. This movie dropped on January 31st of 1986. It's PG-13, hour and 44 minutes long, had a budget of $12 million, and sadly, it only made 7.8. Now, this movie was directed by Roger Spottswood. Roger Spottswood directed a little film called Terror Train in 1980. That was his debut film with Jamie Lee Curtis and David Copperfield. And then eventually he would go on in the 90s during the Pierce Brosnan era as James Bond. He directed Tomorrow Never Dies. So yes, he's been around for a while. He did The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger, did other films, TV work. I think he's still directing to this day. The cast here is what really one of the reasons why I love about this film as we talk about it. Robin Williams plays Jack Dundee. Yes, and Kurt Russell is his co-star, and he plays Reno Hightower. Yes, Robin Williams and Kurt Russell did co-star in the film together. Pamela Reed plays Gigi Hightower, Reno's wife. We also got Holly Palance playing Ellie Dundee, Jack's wife. And yes, she is Jack Palance's daughter, and she was also the nanny from The Omen who hung herself at Damien's birthday party screaming, "Damien, it's all for you," and then she proceeded to hang herself in front of a bunch of kids. Donald Moffat plays the Colonel, and he was in The Thing and many other things. Great character actor, been around forever. I think he's passed away now. Emmett Walsh is also in this film, and he is a long list of credits, been around for a very long time. R.G. Armstrong, another great character actor, is in this film. He's the coach of the football team. Kirk Cameron from Growing Pains fame has an early role here as Reno's son. And Robin Lively made her film debut in this film as Jackie, and she is Jack and Ellie's daughter. And then Robin Lively would go on to be Goldie Hawn's daughter in a little sports comedy called Wildcats. If you've ever seen that one, Wesley Snipes. And then she was in Karate Kid 3. She just came back for the last season of Cobra Kai. But yeah, she made her film debut in this film. Now, let's talk about the film now. This film takes place in Taft, California, a small town in Curtin County. And there's a voiceover in the beginning by Robin Williams' character, Jack, about how high school football is a big deal, but they'd never beat Bakersfield, which is a city in California, and that's their big rival. But in 1973, they almost beat Bakersfield on that fateful night because they had the best quarterback in the history of Taft, or Curtin County, Reno Hightower, Kurt Russell's character. And on the last play of the game, from to win the game, there was a Hail Mary pass to Jack, who was like a third-string wide receiver, and it hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it, and they lost to Bakersfield, and they've never beaten Bakersfield in the history of their rivalry. And ever since then, the town has basically dissolved into lethargy. And it's definitely a rundown town, a small town, but they're proud people. They want to be left alone for them, and they even say that during the film. And Jack can't let this go, and he absolutely loves football, to the point where it's almost detrimental to his marriage. Him and Ellie have problems, mostly because of that game, because Jack can't let it go. He talks about her all the time. Matter of fact, the high school alma mater song is their song of their doorbell. I mean, he's all in, loves football. And Reno, on that fateful night in that game in 73, blew out his knee in that last play because he got hit as he threw the ball, and he never played football again. But he's a legend around town, and people love him and remember all the touchdown passes he's thrown. And basically, you see how not only is the town in lethargy, but their marriages are in lethargy. The film does a nice job setting up the town, the people of the town. All these character actors populate this town. I mean, Donald Moffat is Jack's father-in-law, and he runs the bank. He owns the bank that Jack works in, but he lives in Bakersfield. And he loves reminding Jack about that night, him dropping the hands, dropping the ball. He even calls him Iron Hands a few times and makes fun of him. And Jack just decides, he gets this brilliant idea. Well, he thinks it's a brilliant idea. Well, why don't they replay the game that they lost 15 or 13 years earlier? So he actually manipulates the town into getting fired up because at first they were dismiss him about this. They said it's basically horseshit. We don't want to do it. We're going to get our asses kicked because they're a bigger metropolitan area. They already have an unfair advantage anyway. It's stated during this meeting they have. But Jack decides to trash the local hall, this club that they all gather in, and the wives are put on a show at the bowling alley, and he comes in dressed as the mascot for Bakersfield, throws paint on them, and that really gets the town focused on let's play this goddamn game, and they get all the players back. The town starts taking pride in itself again, cleaning it up, painting their businesses, reopening the old movie theater, all these great things that Jack was hoping was going to happen, although he was still kind of a dick by manipulating everybody into getting into this game. But he realizes pretty soon that everybody that played on that team was on their team was out of shape at this time, and there's no way they're going to beat Bakersfield because those guys look like monsters. But they go through with it, and at the end of the film, Jack catches the pass to win the game, and Taft basically gets to their redemption story, and so does Jack, and even Reno gets a glimmer of his glory of yesteryear. And that is pretty much the best of times. I remember the first time I ever saw this film was back in the mid to late 90s. I was home by myself. My parents, I think, were at my sister's band competition. It happened to be on TV, and I sat there and watched it. Never heard of the film. It had Kurt Russell, Robin Williams, so it grabbed my attention. Anything with Kurt Russell and I'll watch anyway. But it had Robin Williams too, and had a great cast of character actors that I recognized from other films even at that time. And I've always enjoyed this film. Is it perfect? I would say no. People will probably watch this and think I'm nuts for being as positive about this film as I'm about to be. The actors are great here. Robin Williams and Kurt Russell have great chemistry. I believe that they've been friends, although Jack manipulates Reno to a certain extent, so he's kind of a bad friend for a good portion. But you can see Reno's affection for Jack throughout the film, even though he gets pissed at him and tells him he's an asshole from time to time. I love their relationship with their wives. They do take enough time to set that up too, how their marriages are kind of becoming a slog, and everybody in the marriages aren't happy. But at the end of the film, they've reconnected and rekindled their marriages as well as the town rising up and becoming proud of itself again and fixing itself up. And it's just a nice little message about redemption, even though it's kind of, Jack is kind of a scumbag getting everybody to go along with this plan. But I've always enjoyed it. It's funny. It's heartfelt too. The football game is fun. I would say Roger Spotswood does a decent job with it. I mean, he was a Canadian. He wasn't really familiar with football. Robin Williams even quoted saying maybe it was a bad idea to hire a Canadian not really familiar with football to direct a movie about football. But football is not the main thing about the film. Yes, that does play a part of it, especially in the last act of the film is the football game. But it really is about this town, these people just going through their lives, going through the motions, and then the prospects of beating Bakersfield is what rejuvenates the town and a chance at redemption for all the times that Bakersfield has kicked their ass in this game. And honestly, it's just a fun comfort food type of movie for me. I could put this on any time of the year and watch it, and I just like spending time with these characters. I can, relate to this town and these people a lot. And I just always liked this film. It's a film that I've bought on iTunes. I have it on DVD. There is no Blu-ray disc available. I checked it out. You can stream it on Apple iTunes. I don't know, probably anywhere else you could probably rent it. I don't think you can buy it on disc. Maybe an old DVD you could probably get, but that's about it. But I've always enjoyed this film, mostly because of the cast and the story. It really connects with me, and I've always enjoyed it. And it's a movie I watch at least once a year, usually around this time. And I wanted to talk about it. It's not a movie I hear people talk about a lot. And considering it has Robin Williams and Kurt Russell in it and a great cast of character actors, I think it's worth people checking out. It's not perfect. Matter of fact, I noticed some problems with the filmmaking last night for the first time. I've probably seen this 3 dozen times. There's a lot of ADR work in this film. I don't know why that was, but if you watch the film closely, there is a lot of ADR work, and I don't know why that is. And the football game's handled okay. I mean, again, Roger Spotswood was a Canadian. He wasn't really familiar with football. He does a competent job here. I'm not going to shit on the directing. He does a competent job here. Robin Williams and Kurt Russell did their own stunts during the football game. They both played football in high school, and they wanted to do all the stunts themselves. And this movie was written by Rod Shelton, who ended up writing Bull Durham. So this was his first sports film he ever wrote, and then he went on to do Bull Durham after this in 88. So yeah, at the end of the day, the best of times, I would give this film a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. It's a movie that just gives me comfort. I can sit down, enjoy it. I like spending time with these characters. And that's, again, due to the great cast here. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for the best of times. If you've ever seen this film, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I would appreciate that. Until next time, just bye.